So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you take something that's not really well lit and have this as a YouTube or video setup, looking like this, to looking something more along the lines like this. I'll show you exactly that in this video. Stay tuned, make sure you watch all the way to the end. I'll show you everything that I know to how you get this looking setup. So in this video, I'm gonna be using my Nikon, my D5200, or even my Z50. I want to get just entry-level point and shoot like I'm using right now, which is my I'm so used to saying Nikon, my Sony RX100 Mark III. And there's actually some lens splotches on this. First, you want to make sure that you have the right lighting setup or the equipment. And all I have right here to the right of me is one newer Softbox, one Mount Dog ring light. I have my Manfrotto tripod right now using the Rode Link hooked up to my Nikon Z50 so I can get crystal clear audio. And first things first is you want to make sure that your video camera is set to the best settings. Right now it is in automatic. So if I put my hand over it, it's going to adjust everything, the ISO. So I'm just going to go behind the camera right now. Go into my functions, stop recording, go into my functions, go into manual exposure, and I have my settings at 1/50, shooting at 2.8 at 125 ISO. And this just helps the camera in terms of getting constant exposure, is that it doesn't have to constantly adjust. So if I zoom in or I walk closer, it stays within the same camera settings, so it doesn't go over the place. Yes, point and shoots, it's meant to pick up and you don't want to worry about your settings. But if you want to have the best settings when you're filming, especially like client work, you want to have consistent settings. So if your ISO is always going up and down, or your aperture, your shutter speed, it's not going to look that cinematic or great. So now it's set on to stay at 1/50, 2.8 aperture, and shooting at 1/125 ISO. Next is we're going to talk about having your proper lighting setup. And you don't need, all you need is essentially like a $50 softbox setup. So all I have here is a softbox. And as you can see, if I turn it off, it's a dark and stormy night. So first thing is, let's say we just have a softbox setup, right? Or even a ring light setup. What you want to do is you want to have the softbox, set right off to the side and pointed down towards you, where you get that almost Rembrandt-like triangle that people talk about. And I'll show you the difference. If I just moved it and put it in front of me, it's much more evenly spread if the softbox light is straight at me. And you can definitely have this too as a key light setup. But for me personally, I like to have my softboxes just off to the side slightly, so I have a little bit of a shadow contouring to my face. But for, especially if you're in the beauty or makeup industry, this is the most flattering, because you have shadows, and the more shadows you have within your subjects, the more older they look. And if you want to look youthful, you want to have more of a fill light right here. But for me, I actually like this setup and this look. And next is what you can, instead of using a softbox, you can actually turn this guy off. And I'm going to show you the exact same thing with a ring light, right? And because of the Mount Dog ring light does extend quite far, I can tilt this down like a softbox, and I'll put it right there. Now, this is essentially exactly where my softbox was. Just be careful. But one of the things that I don't like using the ring light for is that even though it does have dimmable switches, right? The light itself is still very harsh, because yes, there is a plastic diffuser and it does dim, but here, I'm going to show you the difference, right? So first I'm going to have the softbox This is the softbox, right? This is the softbox and the ring light. It's a little harsh, but I'm going to turn that off. So now I'm just using the ring light to light me. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. And now I'm going to turn off this ring light and show you what it looks like if I just lit up me with the softbox. Option B, when it comes to having your ring light set up, like I said in my other videos, if you haven't watched that yet, go check that out. But what you can also do is you can shoot through the ring light, right? Or you can put your phone right here. So what I'm going to do now, turn this on, turn off this ring light. So now I am completely shooting through my camera and having that lighting set up. As you can see how that looks behind the scenes, the ring light, because it looks really dramatic. And first thing I notice is it's really harsh, and you definitely need some sort of fill light. So to have the best possible lighting scenario and setup is you want to have at least one softbox and another light. And for me, that is a ring light. So now I'm going to show you my most preferred setup if I were to have two lights. So in this simple scenario, I have one key light right at me, bam, and next, looks pretty nice if I would like to do like a makeup tutorial. And you do notice that halo ring light effect. All you do is to get rid of that, you put it to the side. But now the background is very dark. So what I do is I'm just gonna get my softbox, make sure I don't knock anything out, and make sure it lights up the background, right? But that isn't my preferred method, right? What I like to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my softbox exactly where it was, right? And I'm going to use my softbox as my key light. And one of the reasons I actually like using my, this looks really weird, I like using my Mount Dog ring light as I prefer it, is because with the newer models, all of the actual like light stands or tripods that come from the same factory. But with the Mount Dog, it's this a different carbon fiber type of heavy plastic, and it's dimmable, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the color temp, really orange. And you're like, what? You never want to film in both two lights. As you can see, that just looks horrendous because you have a really cool light and you have a really warm light. So stay with me here. So one of the cool things about this Mount Dog ring light is that it can go really low. And with the legs, you can actually put them 90 degrees. So now I have my ring light, make sure it's nice and sturdy, pointed right at the ground. And now I'm going to use this essentially as a backlight. And I'm going to use this to let it bounce off the wall, hit here, come back here, move this a little closer to my face. And this is my most preferred way of shooting a studio setup. I have one key light. If you're just a talking head video, you have a backlight so you're separated from the background and you're the foreground, and make sure you have a little bit of headspace. And that is my little secret of how you take a $50 softbox, you take a $80 ring light, and you make your little own home YouTube studio setup. And as you constantly learn lighting techniques, video settings, you'll start to see the evolution of your own capabilities without having to invest $1,000+ And this is essentially all DIY type of studio look. And you're not gonna know that, hey, if I just stand to the side and I point the camera down, there's a ring light, right? So I hope you guys like this different type of video where I show y'all how to have the best lighting setup with even if you have a vlogging camera, or even you do this exact same thing with your phone. And if you haven't yet, make sure you check my free camera guide, link in the description, as well as if you want to get better at video, get my video camera mastery guide, help you go from a beginner to an expert level filmmaker, even if you have a Nikon camera. And my name is Peter. You're watching Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something. Cheers, guys.